Hello and welcome to Homo Politicus. Kingsley Bassi is my name. Today we turn our focus to a matter that has lingered for decades, dating back to the 1970s, and that remains critical to Nigeria's environmental and social landscape. I'm talking about the Ogoni cleanup project. Well, on Tuesday, January 21, 2025, President Bola Tinubu met with Rivers State Governor Sim Fubara, his predecessor, now Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Governor Nyesom Wike, and other leaders of the Ogoni community to discuss efforts to clean up the oil-producing community. Now, while the meeting has reignited hope, it has raised questions about the pace and sincerity of the government's commitment to restoring Ogoni land and addressing the needs of its people. Well, joining me to discuss this with deep insight into the Ogoni struggle and the environmental justice movement is legal practitioner Chizi. A very good day to you, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you, my dear brother.
Yeah, well, Chizi is also the Chief of Staff to the All Progressives Congress Chairman in Rivers State. Let me get your thoughts on President Tinubu's decision to meet with Ogoni leaders at this time. Do you believe this meeting signals a renewed commitment from the federal government?
Yeah, the side meeting with the president, my worry with that meeting is that it was filled with politicians and not technocrats or even those who would have meant well for the people of Ogoni land. It was selective. Even women were not fully represented in that meeting. In fact, I didn't even see any woman. And I wonder why such a high delegation meeting should ought to have been selective as to just majorly be of politicians who would only want their own. Except for the governor and the few persons who were there, all of that who were there were just to represent their personal interest. And that's really not the reason why Ogoni people fought. Ogoni people fought the collective effort for the good of their people and not just for the good of the politicians. So for the meeting who met with the president, it was really a representation of politicians who would only want to be at the helm of affairs and not remove. So I don't think that meeting is even the proper meeting for the solution for oil exploration in Ogoni land.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned this now because it changes the face of this conversation maybe a little bit. So if you were going to suggest those who should have met with the president for this purpose, who will they be? I suppose that meeting was that of high if you like, call them a high-powered delegation from the community, this Ogoni community, which is the center of focus in this conversation. Could there be, I suppose that's what you think, some other persons who could have represented the community better than those who were there? If you like, mention names.
For me, I am not mentioning names. I'm only saying that the faces I saw there was majorly politicians, which I think does not represent the interests of the Ogoni people. You must not be a politician to represent the interests of Ogoni people. There are those who are not politicians, but who we know die-hard Ogoni people and have the people of Ogoni at their heart. I'm not just politicians. Must you be a politician to do well for your people? I'm sure, assuming the people were fully represented, as we would say, I think that would have been best for the Ogoni people. But however, for the resumption of oil exploration, I think the meeting at first instance is a good move by Mr. President. It is really a good move by him because calling the Ogoni people to a roundtable discussion, which ordinarily, if it is a military regime, they would just do the normal thing they did before. If you don't like, they go by arresting and detaining people unnecessarily. But calling them for a peace talk, for a dialogue, in order to resume oil exploration in Ogoni land, is really a good news to the president. It means that the president will do well and he would have listening ear. But my fear is, like as I've said before,
yes,
he shouldn't change the narrative by surrounding himself with politicians.
Okay, so do you think though that meeting might have had the political on that tone, maybe further conversations beyond this cleanup project was discussed there, since the delegation, the group of people who met there, majorly politicians?
Yes. Like the presence of Wike there is maybe because he's the minister from Rivers State, hence he was present. And the president too is not doing well. How can a minister come on a live television and say that there is nothing will make him make peace with the governor of his state? And the president is calling him and governor for a meeting to develop part of the state. Whether you like it or not, anything that will make the governor to lose is what Wike would want. And part of what will make the governor to lose is the agenda or the ideology to make him not to develop the state, not to do any empowerment or developmental projects. That's the only thing anybody who would want him not to succeed would want. But for any reason that Wike ought to be there, my brother, the reason is what I still don't know, because I know that saying that you would never want the governor to succeed, you won't make peace with him, would mean that you are not interested to develop the state.
He's a former governor. He's from Wike, is a former governor, and the immediate past governor.
Was Amechi there? Was Odele there? Was that a judge there? We are these persons not former governors.
So this meeting,
because he's the minister.
So this meeting is possibly the politically motivated one than the project for the community.
Partly it is, but I'm saying that the reason why Wike was there is because he is the minister from Rivers State, hence his presence was necessitated. But I am only saying that the president, having known what is happening in Rivers State, also ought to have cautioned his ministers on how to come up with the press statements and media chats, knowing that they are serving the people. You can't be serving or be representing Rivers State in a federal cabinet, and you are publicly telling the people that there is nothing that will make you to reconcile with the governor of that same state. It's too bad. That's why what happened during the time of Amechi and Wike's issue. You've not heard Amechi say such thing, that he would never reconcile with Wike, even as the governor. So those are things we don't like. It's really portraying Rivers State in bad light. Wike should talk as the normal human being, and not just as a politician who will come and say this and do another thing. That's the problem we have. And as we speak now, in Rivers State, the supporters of Wike have formed an opinion, and that opinion is now general, saying that politics is for those who are not honest. That's the current trend of things now in Rivers State. To Wike supporters, politics is for those who are not honest. So, and they are saying it because there is no honesty in their parts. They can say this and do that. They are not interested in what the outcome, whether it's positive or negative. What they want is how will they get power, and nothing more pretentious than that. That's the challenge we have in the industry. So how do you think that the Ogoni, the restoration of exploration of oil in Ogoni land will be a smooth one?
Let's focus a little bit more on that and talk about the fact that first this project to clean up the community was launched in 2016. How would you assess the progress recorded to date?
I didn't get you.
Yeah, the progress to clean up the community. It was launched in 2016. How would you assess the progress? Have we made progress in terms of this particular project launched in 2016?
That is still what I'm saying now. The project was launched in 2016, the high prep, I'm sure. The high prep was launched in 2016, and up to today, the much impact is what I don't know. I really have not seen much impact about that. And that is why I have just said earlier that in as much as the project and the program is surrounded by politicians, Ogoni will not get any headway. The only headway they will get is that the federal government will also enter there by force, because the people at the local level will always think, or not to just think, will see that there is nothing positive, no impact that has affected their lives positively, that would make them allow for resumption of oil exploration. And whether I like it or not, the interest of government in Ogoni land is to resume oil exploration and nothing more. And then as much as that is done, the federal government haven't gotten what they wanted. all other things would key in line. And the only measure, as I see now, is that the approach to using much politicians, they will resort to force. Federal government will resort to force. Else, the way environmental, the way and manner the cleaning of the environment and the environmental degradation in Ogoni land is currently, it is not what anybody would say that Ogoni people honestly believe that federal government have started something at all. So in as much as the government have decided to surround themselves with politicians, for me, I would so suggest that the government should come down to meet with traditional rulers, not just first class, second class. No, there are also traditional rulers who are not of the first class and second class. There are those community-based traditional rulers. Look for a way for government to meet with them, because the people that will die are not the politicians. If government resort to force, those that will die are not the politicians. It is still the people at the village level. So they should look for a way to meet the people at the village level. Ask questions. You can, in fact, federal government can even come by way of having an independent group who will go and assess what is happening in the Ogoni land, go to their market, the village square, and all that stuff, even bars. Ask questions and look at which measure, and not just calling meetings of politicians at the presidential villa. And the next thing is, if you give one of them there the position, all other persons remain silent, waiting to get.
One of the resolutions from that meeting, some persons have said is the major resolution is the appointment of the National Security Advisor, Nuri Badu, as the chief negotiator. What do you make of that?
That is the problem we have. Appointing the National Security Advisor to be the chief negotiator, who is not even from Niger Delta area, who does not know much about the Ogoni people, is also an issue. Assuming someone who is a friendly person to the Ogonis, maybe from the Niger Delta area, who knows what the Ogoni people have suffered, who have also been sympathetic to the Ogoni cause, now negotiating with the Ogoni people, I think the people will have no option than to say, okay, now that is our own that is telling us to leave. They will leave. Then appointing the National Security Advisor to look into the issue. In fact, by his position as National Security Advisor, the Ogoni people will also have this fear of there will be use of fierce force. Else, why the appointment of the National Security Advisor?
All right. We need to wrap the conversation now. You've mentioned the role traditional rulers need to play, in the grand scheme to ensure that this the recommencement of exploration of oil in that community happens. But let's talk critically, which is something you referenced, about the collaboration that needs to happen between the federal and the state government for the success of this project. If this is to happen, you've said politicians need to make way, the president needs to get people involved some more. As part of those who should be involved in this project, do you think, for example, we have a former president who is from the region, though not from Rivers State, but Bayelsa, which is very close. He probably has a better understanding of how things should work. I'm talking about former President Goodluck Jonathan. There is Rotimi Tomechi, as well as former Governor Peter Dili. Do you think they can play a role in terms of the federal government, state government, with the current governor, Sim Fubara, in making sure that this comes to life and this sees the light of day?
Yeah. Yes, you see, like mentioning the former president of the federal government of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, I mean such person would have agreed to play such role and he's been nominated. As a Niger Delta person, why won't Ogoni people listen to him during negotiation? Because he knows the plight. In fact, formerly Ogoni and Rivers State were together. So as and when these things were, as when this problem started, the Ogoni people and the Bayelsa people were in one state, that is Rivers State, before Bayelsa was created. So Jonathan knows everything about Ogoni. And was he even consulted before this meeting was held? No. I'm not too sure he was consulted. Majority of the persons who would have also made input were also not consulted. The only thing we saw was that they have appointed the chief negotiator, who is from the northern region and all that stuff. These things will really have negative effect However, the fact that even the River State government, I'm not too sure that there was even a synergy between the River State government and the federal government before this time. Hence, disappointment. I'm so sure that what just happened was that Mr. President summoned the meeting of the Ogoni elders, and certain favorable with the governor of the River State must be there. Assuming there has been synergy wherein the governor was allowed to make much input, I think the governor would have come by way of knowing what is obtainable. It's not just by attending meeting, and the governor can attend the meeting because the president summoned him to a meeting and wouldn't have much role to play. But because we have a governor who is a listening governor, who is down to earth, who have not seen the office of the governor as to mean much, who have not also seen himself as above others. So I think if the government of President Tinubu would do well to liaise with Satimale, the governor of River State, I think they will go far in making sure that the resumption of oil exploration will go. But however, because Wike is a minister, he would also want to play positive input. He would also want to make positive input on what goes around, and also don't rule out the fact that this thing is a federal government thing, and what the minister says may have effect more than what the governor will say. That's now when politics will come into it. And when the politics will come into it, so that the governor is no longer making much input, I'm telling you, the Ogoni people will not accept it.
Well, politics and more politics in what should be solely for the good of the people. Again, this particular matter dates back to the 1970s, and it's still lingering. We're in 2025, and we're still having this conversation about the major oil producing country, oil producing community in this country. But I'd like to thank you so much, legal practitioner and chief of staff to the chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State, Chizi Enyi. Thank you so much for your time on Homo Politicos today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a fantastic one. Well, that's Homo Politicos for you today. Well, back next time for some more conversation. In the meantime, be well. And, make sure to follow and join the conversation in the comment section. I'll be reading. Kingsley Bass is my name. Bye for now.